welcome here today behind the Blaze. Your host, Coach Matt Kriesky. I got my co-host with me, Coach.
Defensive backs coach Malek Holman.
Also, student player.
Lineman Xavier Wesley.
And today in this episode, we're going to talk about the transition for not only the players, but also the coaches and how things are going as we're going into week 2 of the season as we play Stewart's Creek this week.
First question for you, Xavier. How has, when we first got here, end of February, beginning of March, as a player of the offensive line, what is your perspective on Coach Matt Kriesky compared to the last 3 years here at Blackman High School?
It's a different experience for sure, but he's a really good coach, and I kind of like how he focuses on players' health and like how they're feeling more. And he's been the coach that's looked after me the most I've had, so you know, it's a good experience though.
And what about the rest of the offensive position coaches all the way down, not from the line, just the play starts with y'all, but as far as the skill positions, quarterbacks, receiver coaches, tight ends coaches, how would you say as a group they are this year?
I think they're good, you know, like it's just new relationships being built, you know, and that's the best part, you know, just building relationships with the new coaches and all that. And I think they adjusted pretty well, you know. We graduated a lot of people last year, and that's the main thing I was talking about. So I think they adjusted really well to it.
Okay, and then as far as, you know, from you seniors, what is it, 19 of you guys, I believe, 19, 20 of you guys, how as a collective group grade, I know you first talked about, of course, the first workout when we first got here in the winter. What was the topic of the group chat after the first workout with Coach Kriesky and the new staff?
Man, we actually liked it way better. So, like, when our old coach, we had long workouts, long focus on, like, mostly full body. But now it's more, like, focus on specific parts of your body that we really like. And it's quick, to the point, and we really like the new workouts. So we were, like, actually pumped about it.
Okay, so there was no negative talk in the first jet.
Nah, we were definitely sore, but we were pretty excited.
For you yourself, how long did it take to get adjusted to the beginning agilities outside hitting the field in the mornings, just off the long layoff from, you know, the school trying to find a new coach? I know some were still working on their own, but as far as a team activity, how long did it take you to get adjusted?
I think about a week or so. I felt like I was pretty well conditioned coming into it, but just getting used to the new coach and all that, I think it took about like a week. And after that, we kind of like started rolling. I mean, that's all we had to do is get rolling with the coaches.
Yeah. And you know, Coach K always preaches it starts with the seniors from top down, because the seniors don't lead. It's going to be tough for this team. So once the seniors got on board, what is the rest of the team's aspect on getting adjusted to the new coaches? Do you think it's still a work in progress? Do you think off the rip when we first got here in February, March, that it was a lot of buy-in, or you still think it was still back and forth trying to fill us out?
I think after a week or so, it was a little shaky, but once the seniors started buying in, the rest of the team started to buy in, because, you know, they realized they still have another year, and, you know, they just got to, they built a relationship with Coach K, as we all did, and, you know, we just going for a ride, trying to make the best out of it, you know?
Yeah, I would say, as far as my coaching aspect, when we first got here, there was a lot of, you know, getting to know guys, and the biggest thing was trying to learn names, put names with faces, because it's easy reading a name on a piece of paper than trying to see what they look like in real life. But unfortunately for us, a lot of the guys who we saw on paper last year were no longer here. So just the dialect from the end of February, beginning of March, to when we started spring practice, it was like, okay, where are we going to put guys? How are we going to get eyes on guys to get a lot of reps? Because our team, where we came from, was a lot smaller than what we have here at Blackman High School, which is a good thing, because it's a lot more bodies, it's a lot more camaraderie. That's what you want as a team. But as far as trying to give guys reps, we wanted to make sure we was being fair, give everybody a chance to prove that they can show what they could do. So as far as that, do you think we did a great job of just making sure everybody got a look and their practice intensity was what y'all were used to? Or do you think that also took a while to get adjusted to?
The practice intensity, it was kind of good coming from a tempo offense. So, like, the intensity was up and we kind of liked it. But going on your saying, I think everybody got a fair chance to get the starting job, especially since we graduated so many last year. You know, I was the only junior lineman on this line last year. Everybody else was seniors. And so I don't know how many seniors we graduated, but it was almost everybody. So I think, like, building young stars like you got Trey McGaffey, Ethan Carson, all these names, they're going to be big their senior year. So I think it was really important to give everybody a chance.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too within the public eye, seeing those two names you said, Trey McGaffey and Ethan Carson. Those are juniors. We're going to have to count on a lot going forward this year in the season. And that's the main thing. We want to keep developing depth and make sure that we have guys ready that can go, because in any play, your time can be up. So let's say, of course, we just had our first game, didn't come out the way we wanted. How have you mentally prepared yourself for this week to get ready for this next game, to get that bad taste out of your mouth?
All you can do is come in angry, Like, Stewart's Creek is a very talented team. They have a very talented three-front. BJ, the nose guard, is very talented. We played him every year I've been here. So, it's going to be a fun game of just, like, competing. And you got to compete, stick as a team, and get that game out of your head because, it's the past and it's not a region game. So all you can do is move forward from it and learn from it. And last year we had lost to Brentwood opening 2, and we went 10-3. So, you can't base your season off of the first game.
How do you think practice has gone this week? How do you think the players responded? We've had to adjust due to the heat to go in the morning. Do you think that has helped us? Do you think it has hurt us? Just tell us what the guys are thinking this week as we're headed into Stewart's Creek.
Man, it started rough for sure, but I think we've really built off of practice today, and I think we're all positive moving forward, and that we were just so happy to, like, have a good day competing against each other and not just, like, forget about the last days, because it was hard to wake up early in the morning, but we just got it out of our head, and we was like, let's compete. We got a game in 3 days, and you don't know how many of these you get, based off of injuries. Anything can happen. So you just want to make the most out of every day you get.
As we switch gears a little bit, tell us a little bit so the audience out here knows a little bit about Xavier. Tell us some things that you do outside of school. Tell us some things that you're interested in school. Just let the audience hear about Xavier and what he does, what he likes to do, and just want to know you.
Well, it's not a lot to me, I'm very busy. I also do cheerleading at Blackman, if you didn't know. And so balancing football and cheer, it's tough, but it's something you got to do. I really enjoy both of the sports. And, working on the weekends, early shifts. So after game day, I'll wake up 7 o'clock for my shifts. And, it's just repeating cycle, it's not much to it, just constantly working. And I don't think I'd rather do anything else. I love being busy. I don't like being bored. Because I feel like when I'm not doing anything, I feel like I could be doing something. So,
when you graduate in May, what are your plans after Blackman High School?
I want to go to college, and I'm still figuring out my major right now. And based off of this season goes, I'll either cheer or do football in college. But we'll see. I feel like I have a 3.9 GPA, so I feel like I can go really far when whatever I do as long as I stick to it.
Good. So, as we talked about your new position coach, Coach Anderton, we talked about different coaches. Tell us what you think about Coach Anderton, some of the good things, and how you feel about the transition with your position coach and how it's going so far.
Man, I love the guy. Coach Anderton's like a second father to me. And, it was hard because Coach Shambaugh, the last coach, he was also a father to me, and he still is. And I think it was really cool that I could, kind of have two fathers with two different perspectives. So you have Coach Shambaugh, who coached for so long, and he's still there for me. I still go to him a lot. And then you have Coach Anderton, who was a player, who knows how it is. And, just two different perspectives you can go to. And they both look out for me so much. So it's just such a blessing to have both of them in my life.
Yeah, speaking of Coach Shambaugh, I coached against Coach Shambaugh whenever I was at a smaller school. He's an outstanding coach. Wish we could get him on board, but he's busy with some of his family stuff right now. So it's good to still have him in the building. And of course, for myself, is him being a former head coach to bounce ideas off him. He's great. He still watches our film, gives us feedback. So it's good to have him still around and involved in some capacity. Coach Anderton, just give me something funny that's happened since March, since Coach Anderton has been here to now. That you can tell us about Coach Anderton, so that the audience knows and they can pick with Coach Anderton whenever they see him out in the hallways and in the community.
Oh man, that's a tough one. There's so many memories. Uh, dang, I don't even know.
Not one thing that sticks out that Coach Anderson does that makes you laugh every time you think of Coach Anderson. Man, I can tell you getting him and Coach Morial and in the office together. Oh my goodness, that's whew. Can only take about 5 minutes of that.
Well, it was like this had just recently happened. So like whenever we had a bad practice, he kind of brought the whole group together, and he was like, "What more do I have to do for you guys?" And that's kind of like the statement he said because he does so much for us, and we had a bad practice. We was just moping around. So he said that at the end, and then when we have a good practice, he kind of just joking around. He's just like, "Coach, what more do you have to do for us?" You know. So I think that was a funny memory. You know, my funniest memory so far.
All right, now going to we know linemen like to eat. All right, so tell me a little bit about Coach Anderson's cooking.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. Every Thursday night before games, he has us come over to cook, or he cooks for us, and it was really good. Last week he had pulled pork. Yeah, it was pretty good.
So you're saying Coach Anderson's a little bit better cook than myself over here. You know, you've been to my house twice. You know, we've cooked and hung out with the seniors, and so I think we're gonna have to run the lineman a little bit more with you saying that.
Man, I don't know, because Coach K's Burgers is really up there, so I don't know. It's two different types of foods, you know. I can't really compare it. They both good.
I'm not down there with offensive line at practice. So how do you know when Coach Anderson's in a bad mood? Like what is, every coach has that one saying, or they do the one whatever. They have the one action they do on the field to show that they're frustrated. What is his go-to, and how do you know when Coach Anderson's frustrated with you?
He doesn't really like have a emotion, but he's like, "Listen, I don't like being a jerk, but I will be if I have to." And he'll run us if we don't get to our spots when we have to. So that's literally what his saying is. He's like, "Listen, I don't want to be a jerk, but I will if I have to."
And last thing before we close up, as far as you being a senior, and Coach K always talked about how the seniors have to lead, and not everybody leads the same way. Some people are verbal leaders. Some guys, pull them to the side, say, "Hey, you need to get your stuff together," to get people going. But how does X, the only starting senior on offensive line, how do you lead, or how do you see yourself leading the team moving forward?
I think I'm more of a pull to the side type guy. I don't think screaming at your teammate like in front of everybody is gonna help them. Like if anything, it's just gonna embarrass them. But like pulling them to the side, letting them know what they did wrong, and then like lead by example. Lead how you play. Like a lot of people can be leaders and then not back it up on the field. Just don't talk and do your action on the field. And I think people take that accountable enough.
So how you feeling before we close? Like Coach Holman said, how you feeling as we're going to Stewart's Creek?
I'm feeling really good. I can't wait to compete against those guys. Those guys are they're really talented, and I can't wait to compete. Brentwood was talented as well, but I think I played a good game against Brentwood, and I think we can have a good game coming together now that it's the second game. I think we can have a good game against Stewart's Creek. We just have to do our game plan and do what we do.
Yep, it's been a great week of practice. We got one more day to finish up before we kick off Friday night. This has been a great episode Behind the Blaze. So stay tuned as we'll have episode 2 coming out next week with myself, Coach Kriesky, and Coach Holman.
Yep, Coach Holman. And we'll also have a new special guest next week, so you'll get to meet another special player and great senior like Xavier.
Thank you guys for having me.
Go Blaze.